turn that in and leave that with me as well. And of course, the biggest, I didn't mean to start without you guys. I'm just talking about stuff. The biggest thing after we finish your packet is to hit your study guide. So a reminder, whatever we don't finish in your study guide is your responsibility to wrap up between now and Monday. It is due Monday, no exceptions, no late taking of, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but anyway, I don't take study guides late, all right, because you've got to be done with it and finished in preparation for the actual midterm itself, okay? So just a quick reminder, I'll make sure that I post that. I don't think it really matters. I don't know, because regardless, somebody will still do it and swear they didn't see it, whether it was an email or Google message or whatever. But I guess it's because I don't like TikTok it or whatever, and that's why y'all miss the messages sometimes. But anyway, so no late submissions of study guides. Okay.
The midterm is Tuesday.
It is. It is Tuesday. And I placed it on Tuesday for a reason. All right. Number one, because y'all struggle really hard on Mondays. I shouldn't, and when I say y'all, I don't mean certain people in particular. I just mean in general. All right. In general, people struggle on Mondays, remembering stuff, getting to stuff. And it is a long, lengthy exam, and I needed you to be, on your A game and ready for it. So hopefully, you get past Monday, you get past the hump and into the routine of the school week, and then you knock it out. Question.
Like, do you have a number?
Well, I will say this, cup half full, is I backed it down.
Oh,
I did. Like I hit question 120 and I was like, maybe this is a bit much.
Like 120?
I was like maybe this is a tad overkill. Maybe I need to like back it down a few questions.
So we're talking like
So
75.
I probably should double check it just to make sure that I remember it correctly, but it's in the range anywhere around 80 to 85. I think I backed it down quite a bit.
Is it time? Like,
quite a bit.
If we did it online, is there going to be a time?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. So here's what I want to say, because some have already experienced this. And again, if you do it through SchoolNet, yes, it will be timed, and I am ensuring that you're not sitting there Googling your questions as you go. Okay. So it is timed for a reason. Now, if that in any way, shape, or form makes you feel anxious, nervous, your IBS symptoms start acting up on you, right? Like, I know it happens. We can talk about it. I know it happens. And you would prefer the paper pencil version. I mean, obviously, if you are an A-day and if you are a 4-day student, then, you got all the time in the world. You come in here, if you got a question you want to talk about, we'll talk about it. If not, then you get in here and you take as much time as you need to knock out that midterm. I have, as you guys see, plenty of space in here, and I can still put out more tables and desks. So if anybody would prefer to come and take it on paper and pencil, and you are not either an A-day or a 4-dayer, that's the new terms, 4-dayer, 2-a-dayer, whatever. You have the option, because I do have the space in my classroom for you to knock it out on paper and pencil. So the only thing is I would prefer you to let me know in advance. That way I don't have to last minute shove everything around. But if you would prefer to do it old school, paper, pencil on Tuesday, and you won't already be here, just let me know in advance. You come, knock it out, get it done, and we'll move on. Any other questions about midterm?
What's our time limit on?
You're talking about if you did do it on, I don't know. See, I figured, I don't know, if I remember correctly, and it's somewhere around 85 questions, I think I gave you like 25 or 30 minutes to knock it out on time. Because yeah, I mean, it's that easy. You know, I timed myself. I got it done in 10 minutes. So I figure if I double that, that's how much time y'all will need. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I hope that y'all understand that. I was kidding.
Oh, we sounded really
I was-
serious, so I was a little
Yeah.
nervous.
That's kidding.
It might not take you only 30 minutes. But I don't need
Is that too much pressure? It's too much pressure. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that to you for that many questions.
Oh, so it's not actually 30.
Maybe 35. It's, yeah,
If we're lucky.
yeah. Like 35, 30. I don't think you need more than 35. No. But anyway, I don't remember.
Yeah, my favorite candy, we can like.
Uh-huh. Sweet taught me. I don't know. Okay. But anyway, I don't know. I need to go back and check to see how long it was to see how long it's actually going to be timed for. But I don't imagine, you know, because you guys have like a rock star of a history teacher that's been teaching you. So that's why you don't need long, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't feel the enthusiasm on that one. Thanks, guys. Thanks. All right, let me share my screen. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. If you do have everything on paper and you want to go ahead and pull it out, go ahead and pull out study guide, go ahead and pull out packet. Let's get into it. I don't want to waste any more of your precious
You were going to give me a
time.
study guide copy.
Yes. I have copies. Let me get that to you, and then we'll go over bell ringer. Where did I put them? Let's see. Was that it? Was that the only thing that you were wanting a paper copy of?
Yes. I
Okay.
can't study on the computer.
No, I get that. I'm with you 100% on that. I can't stand it. I mean, it does give me headaches, and I use the blue light glasses to try and help, but I hate it. I think it's miserable. But anyway, all right, super quick, fast and in a hurry. Bell ringer. What is the nickname for the new modern woman? We talked about her yesterday. What is she called? The flapper. Yes. So the new woman of the 1920s is the flapper. How have women's fashion trends and attitude changed? Okay. All right. So yes, dresses are looser. They are exposing the most skin we have ever witnessed a woman show. That is not a lady of the night. Yes. What else? What else do we notice besides fashion trends? All right, shorter hair. What else? Wearing makeup. Yes. Yes, drinking in public, smoking in public, going to speakeasies and bars and clubs, and just the overall independence and motivation to have their own life, their own freedom, their own identity outside of just being a mother, a wife. Right, yeah, just fitting in that box of domesticity and being stuck as to a certain ideal that we've had for women. Yeah, fantastic, good. All right, if you have the packet of notes and you want to follow along with me, we're going to have to hit this pretty fast. Again, it's in your Google Slides if you want to go back and see anything more in detail, but we're going to hit it fast so that I can show you, hopefully, a very quick video clip, and then we're going to finish up packet, and we'll see. I'm not making any guarantees on how far we will actually get with the study guide, just because I think y'all should have to do a little bit of the work. Oh, 65 maybe? I mean, I don't know. That's got to be close.
I don't know how much I did yesterday, but it's either 64 or 65, I think.
We started the very, it is, it's 65.
Okay.
20s culture.
Yes.
All right, there we go. Okay. All right, so this is the clip that I'm going to show, and the one that I picked out is the modern day Leo version of The Great Gatsby. I'm going to show you one of the party scenes, because when Scott Fitzgerald writes the book, The Great Gatsby, he is showing the life that he and his wife are living in the 1920s. They have immense wealth, and the party scene shows you the clothing style. It shows you the look of that extreme wealth. And so he is showing it from the perspective that he is living this crazy, fun, exciting lifestyle. So he writes the book, The Great Gatsby. Sinclair Lewis writes The Wizard of Oz. Again, has a lot of symbolism throughout the book that has to do with the populist movement that we've talked about way back in chapter 14, no, before that, chapter 12. So anyway, literature is showing what we call realism. It's showing how real life is and is being portrayed in the 1920s. And then we talked about just a little bit when we were talking about the early movies that are coming out, that we know in the 1920s, we've already got our talking films. They are mostly in black and white, but we're about to see the transition to color. Here's a few more. We also have this group known as the Lost Generation. We would put Ernest Hemingway, we would put him as part of that, quote, lost generation. And you can understand it more from our soldiers' perspectives, our guys that have been over fighting in a war, and then they come back to the United States and they feel like they don't fit in anymore. They don't feel like they understand this new America that they're coming into. They come into the United States when prohibition is in place, you know, after you've been to hell and back and witnessed war. You just want to come home, have a beer, and you can't even do it because now our country is a dry nation. So all these changes that are taking place, the new attitude of women, these pushes for civil rights. I mean, again, it's just a long, lengthy list, but a lot of people, including writers, feel like they cannot identify with this new America. Ernest Hemingway, T.S. Eliot, Robert Frost, again, poets and writers and authors. Ernest Hemingway is one of many Americans who actually end up going back to Europe. He doesn't like the new America. And he and a lot of others actually pack up and go back to Europe after the war is over. He does have a house down in the Florida Keys that you can go and visit and tour. So there's your fun fact. But again, several major writers and authors coming about in the 1920s. All right, what about baseball? All right, America's heroes when it comes for sports. Who's this guy right here? Babe Ruth. Yeah, if you're a big Sandlot movie fan, you know, they talk about all of his nicknames, the Great Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT, King of Clap. They talk about how he had so many career home runs. And they also talk about the curse that follows him, that he was not originally part of the Yankees. You might know what team he was on originally and got traded to the Yankees. Nobody? Nobody a baseball trivia individual? Red Sox. He was originally part of the Red Sox and got traded to the Yankees. And so they say the Red Sox are cursed. It's the curse of the Great Bambino, that after he left, they just had a big losing streak. But we got Babe Ruth, again, famous for baseball, 714 career home runs. Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney, boxing legends. The Red Grange, known as the Galloping Ghost. That's how fast he was. They said he was so fast, he was down the field before anybody else could even see him or catch him. Football becomes popular at the college level before it becomes popular and becomes known as the NFL today and things like that. So popular college football team was Notre Dame. And then golf. Golf becomes very popular in the 1920s as well. Bobby Jones, one of the most famous American golfers in the 1920s, does world tours, ends up winning championships over in Great Britain. There's a bunch of movies about him as well. So we've got not just heroes, but also sports figure heroes that we'll talk about for the 1920s, among other individuals that are paving the way, because we're about to talk about some other greats, including, here he is, Mr. Charles Lindbergh. Again, we said after World War I is over, we're going to use airplanes for different things, for airmail, and of course, the very first passenger flights. Charles Lindbergh is known for setting a major accomplishment, he is going to make the very first transatlantic flight, first solo flights in 1927. He is going to be flying by himself, and I forget how many hours it is that he's actually up in the air. I can only imagine how many empty bottle containers he's taking with him on this flight. That is a long, long flight that he does by himself. All right. His plane, and have y'all ever heard this? That it's oh gosh, what is the word for it or phrase? When you say, I get superstitious or I don't, anyway, you'll get what I'm saying in a minute. That if you don't name a plane or don't name a boat, it's just like a superstition that if you don't name it, that something bad will happen. And so, that was just kind of a routine that they had all gotten into. Even during World War I, you would see pilots paint pictures and even name planes. And he names his the Spirit of St. Louis. So you can see it pictured there. It is on the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. That is his plane. He's a great American hero when he comes home. And we, of course, have to talk about his female counterpart, Miss Amelia Earhart. So she's like, just, hold my purse for me while I just put you in the dust, right? Transatlantic flight, all right, watch this. And her attempt, unfortunately, doesn't work out as well, is that she's going to fly around the world, solo flight around the world. It is heartbreaking to find out that in her last leg of her journey, as she is flying over the Pacific, 1937, her plane will go down, and it's like losing a needle in a haystack going over the Pacific Ocean. They actually have recently found her plane, so we know where it is that she went down now. I don't remember. I read the story a long time ago. But unfortunately, she does not finish her journey. But major accomplishment, however you go, she was an amazing pilot and an amazing feat to be able to do by yourself. And of course, just paving the way for women in the future anyway. What about movies? We talked about movies a little bit. I'm kind of throwing at you some movie trivia. We love entertainment. This is the golden age of Hollywood. Some of the best movies popping out around this time period. We love comedy. We love going to the movies and being able to enjoy ourselves. Charlie Chaplin is a famous silent film actor. He kind of makes me think of, oh gosh, what of like Will Ferrell movies and stuff, just those stupid funny, just running into something and not paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? Like he did a lot of that comedy. His character is known as the Little Tramp. And of course, you probably will know this, one of his most iconic pieces of his look is his mustache. And a lot of people, some people might know this, some people might not, that Adolf Hitler was a fan of his comedy and kind of pick on the two for the similar mustache look. But anyway, Charlie Chaplin, not just famous here in the United States for his films, very popular in Europe, as well as Shirley Temple. It was really amazing. I went to go listen to a Holocaust survivor, and she said she remembers watching Shirley Temple movies over in Europe. So that's how popular she is in the 1920s as well. We have the It Girl, Clara Bow, who was a very much flapper inspiration in Hollywood for women. Rudolph Valentino, a male actor of the day. Again, we've got our first talking films. The Jazz Singer comes out in 1927. And I already told you this. I know I ruined my fun facts for it. But we know Walt Disney comes on the scene in the early 1900s to start creating legends that we still know and love today. His first cartoon character, again, originally known as Steamboat Willie, known and loved today by all children as Mickey Mouse. That, and then go ahead. I hope you're going to impress me with your knowledge of the trivia that I share with you. What is his first full-length action animated feature.
Snow White.
It is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We're going to do a little bit of psychology. I used to teach AP Psych. I haven't taught it in a couple of years. But one of my favorite things was to quit. But this might not work as well if you're not familiar with some of these Disney princess movies, including Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Can anybody remember the names of the Seven Dwarfs?
All of them?
Yeah.
Carter, you don't know this?
I can be most of them.
Macy's one.
Happy,
Happy, sad, cry. I don't know. Just curious. I'm just curious. All right, there he is. There's Steamboat Willie. Steamboat Willie in his early years before he became known as Mickey Mouse. All right. Oh, I think I skipped over my other picture. No, never mind. I thought I had something else up. Never mind.
We forgot Grumpy.
Yeah.
And Bashful.
And Bashful, yeah. Okay, all right, last couple of things. Of course, we got to hit really hard. We got to hit the Harlem Renaissance. I got to finish up these last couple of things and we'll be done. All right, one thing that, and this is not a new concept. That's what I meant to say. It's not a new concept. It's actually something that we've talked about and been in and around your notes for a while now. But the Great Migration is going to take place actually during World War I, to where we have a large number of African Americans that are moving up to the north for job opportunities. We see a lot of them moving and leaving the South, going up north for better jobs, more opportunities, to get away from a lot of racism that is still in the South. This guy right here, very interesting character. His name is Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey, who is very much a Black nationalist. He's going to found the Universal Negro Improvement Association in 1916, promoting, Black pride and unity. And here's what he comes up with. He promotes what he calls the Back to Africa movement. And the idea is very much what it sounds like, is that he said, you know what? We are not appreciated here in the United States. We just all need to pack up our stuff, move back to our ancestral home continent of Africa, because we're not being appreciated here in the United States. Things are not getting better for us here in the United States. Anybody want to guess if that movement worked out very well?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's kind of like somebody looking at my ancestry, and which I love. I love doing ancestry research. I think it's fascinating. That's like them looking at mine and saying, hey, it looks like a majority of your family is from Ireland. You just need to pack up your stuff and you need to move to Ireland, which, might sound fun doing a trip, but not, moving and permanently living there for the rest of my life, leaving behind family and friends and all the things, right? Like that's probably not going to roll, right? So anyway, you understand the concept. So it didn't work. It didn't go. But there is some irony to it. The irony, I guess, is that he himself will be going back to Africa because he is found on mail fraud and he is deported. So in the idea of the Back to Africa movement, he himself does indeed go back to Africa. Okay. So, all right, last but not least, we got to hit some big names in the Harlem Renaissance, and then we got to hit all the other stuff. All right, so big names, Harlem Renaissance. Here's who we've got. This is a picture of Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes is a very well-known leading voice of the African American community, writer, author, poet, writes the I Too Sing America poem. He's not the only one. We got Claude McKay, again, first big major writer for the Harlem Renaissance, writes the poem If We Must Die. Zora Hurston writes about African American culture. All of these writers and authors and poets are describing what it is like to live life as an African American in the 1920s. Langston Hughes talks about, how is it fair that you invite me over, but I have to come in through the back door? How is it fair that you invite me over for dinner, but I can't sit with the rest of the guests in the formal dining room? I have to go sit and eat with the help in the kitchen. A great example is, again, I watched the movie Race, or rewatched, I should say. the Jesse Owens story, to where they are recognizing him for being a 3 gold medalist Olympian. And they are honoring him on this awards night and dinner and celebration. And when he goes to the hotel with his wife, the doorman at the front of the hotel tells him, "No, sir, you will have to use the service entrance like all colored individuals." And his coach is with him. And his coach is a white man. And he says, "But you realize the dinner, the celebration is for him. You understand that, right?" I mean, he's just dumbfounded at what is happening. And the guy's like, "I don't really know what you want me to tell you. I understand that, but I'm just telling you those are the hotel's rules and regulations." Yeah, because that is during the time of segregation. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. It really is. Just like how jazz is the most popular music of the 1920s, and a majority of the jazz singers and musicians are African Americans, and they're still not given the credit they deserve. All right, this is it. Last couple of people, and then we're done. Paul Robeson, singer and actor. Louis Armstrong. This guy is just amazingly talented. He has more talent in his pinky finger than I probably do in my whole entire body, to where he could play like 7 different instruments. He's most well known for playing the trumpet. It took me a minute to figure out what I was trying to say. He is most well known for playing the trumpet, but he could play so many different instruments, and he could listen to something one time and play back the whole entire song. I mean, that's how talented this guy is. He could hear it one time, not even see the sheet music, and play it back by memory. Duke Ellington, composer, pianist, band leader. Bessie Smith, blues singer. Again, blues and jazz were the 2 most popular song trends of the day. Blues obviously is talking about your troubles, unfulfilled love, poverty, oppression. Reminds me a lot of country music. You know, they're crying because somebody, wrecked their truck, stole their dog, drank their beer. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so blues and jazz, 2 of the most popular music trends of the day. Okay. All right. We're stopping there as far as our notes go. Again, that kind of wraps up getting us to the Harlem Renaissance. So if you don't have it out already, make sure you pull it up now. We're hitting your unit packet first, and then we're hitting your study guide. We'll see how far we get with the study guide. Golly, I might have to cut out my clip. I don't know. We'll see how far we get in the next little bit. All right, let's do it. We are doing a couple of the activity pages, but the one that I want to do, we're going to take it just a minute to do some story time. Why? Because I love it. And y'all just pretend like you do, okay? In your packet, we're looking at what is a flapper. What is a flapper? So there's 2 pages we're going to do today, maybe 3. I don't know. 3 is what's left. We'll just see how much time we have to get in after study guide. Okay. So really quick, what is a flapper? We're answering the 4 questions that go with it, and then we'll go to the vocab practice page. The flapper was the 1920s version of the liberated woman. She was free from long skirts, long hair, and long-held ideas about a woman's place in society. In the following selection from a 1925 article in Collier's magazine, Sam Cawthor concludes that the flapper is today our most important national institution. The real flapper is what used to be known as the poor working girl, who, if accounts are true, dragged herself off day by day to work until someone came along and married her. Sometimes she was a Cinderella, but more often she graduated a household drudge. The flapper of today is a very different person. In dress, she is as standardized as a chain hotel. And incidentally, hotel bedrooms are becoming so alike that you can remember what city you are in only by tacking a local newspaper on the wall. Barring size, flappers at 100 feet are as standardized as Ford cars. As far as dress goes, they are simplified national product. There is no distinction between the town flapper and the farm flapper. The automobile has wiped them out. There is no distinction in the cut of clothing between the rich flapper and the poor flapper. National advertising has attended to that. The rich flapper has better clothing than the poor one, but a block away, they are all flappers. The outstanding characteristic of the flapper is not her uniform, but her independence and her will to be prosperous. There is no clinging, or she is no clinging vine. I was in the office of the president of a good-sized bank on the Pacific coast when his daughter and several of her high school friends burst in, flappers all. We got to talking, and I found that these girls, not one of whom had any need to work, all intended to find jobs during the summer, and they thought that most of the girls in school would do the same. They all wanted to know how to make a living and to have a good time doing it. That seems to be common everywhere. Girls will no longer marry men who can merely support them. They can support themselves better than can many of the men of their own age. They have awakened to the fact that the superior sex stuff is all bunk. They will not meekly bow their heads to the valiant man who roars, "Where's that dress I bought you 3 years ago?" The flapper wants to look well, and she is willing to provide for herself. Employers everywhere told me that the women were doing better work than the men, and they do seem to be mentally more alert. All of which means that the man who marries the modern flapper has got to provide for her. She will not merely be an unpaid servant, and this in turn means that the men have got to work, which nothing better could happen for the country. The flapper is today our most important national institution. The will to be prosperous has brought prosperity. We have practically no poverty, and I judge that at least 2/3 of what little we have is voluntary. All right, let's knock out these questions. Number 1 says, how do employers feel about flappers? Yeah, absolutely. They say they do better work than men. They are a great contribution to the workforce. Do better work than men. All right, 2 says, what effect does the flapper's economic independence have on relationships between men and women? Ooh, that's a good
They
one.
don't just marry like someone that can provide for them. If they can provide for themselves.
Yes. They're not waiting around for somebody to come propose, right? They're not willing to settle. I think that's an excellent way to say it. They're not willing to settle. I like that. They're not willing to settle. They know that they can do better. They can take care of it themselves now. Number 3, what 2 traits are common to all flappers? He talks about that like halfway through the article. And we're not talking about like their fashion trends and physical looks. Yeah, like the quote is about right there in the middle. He says, the outstanding characteristic of the flapper is not her uniform, but her independence and her will to be prosperous. So we'll say independence and drive. Independence and drive, or motivation, however you want to word it. Independence and drive. All right, question 4 is beautiful. I love this statement in the article. What do you think the writer means when he says the flapper is as standardized as a chain hotel? They all look the same. That's exactly right. They all look the same. Remember when we were talking about what a flapper looks like, right? They got the short loose dresses, what's the new cool haircut? The bob, right? Wearing makeup. So they all look alike. Number 5, what is the author's point of view about the flapper? There's a quote that you can find a couple of times in that article. That kind of says over and over again. And I think he says it there again at the very end. That last sentence. The last sentence of that first paragraph on the back. Yep, exactly. That's how he feels. The flapper is today our most important national institution. That's how much of a contribution he thinks that flappers are. All right, once you get that, we're going to go to your front page. So again, I'm going to try and speed this up because we need to get to the study guide. So I'm going to get you started on both pages, the front and the back of the first page. Go to the front. It says reteaching activity 17, jazz age. I'm going to get you started. If we have time to go back and finish, we'll see. But again, I got to get you into that study guide. All right, so you've got to do two things on this one. You've got to match the person or the word, and you've got to be able to explain the significance. All right, number one, I'm going to do this fast because, like I said, I don't know if we'll have time to come back to it. Negro nationalism, we can match that up with Marcus Garvey. Number one, Marcus Garvey. All right, numerality, that's been a major topic for today. Numerality is talking about flappers. So flapper for number two. Number three, nationalism. It's talking about the Emergency Quota Act. So for number three, Emergency Quota Act. You should see two blanks. Like the first blank, you'll write the term in, and then the after nativism, you'll write the definition. Can you see the paper as you're doing it? And yours doesn't. Did I say nationalism?
Yeah, that's what
Oh. Okay. All right. In my head, I said the right answer because I heard myself say it in my head. Emergency Quota Act for number three. You swear I didn't say that?
Yeah, you said that.
Oh my God. That's a little scary. I'm kind of concerned about myself right now because I swear I said it. Okay, just maybe not out loud. All right, so three is Emergency Quota Act. Four is Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway in Modern American Arts. All right, five. Y'all can help me out a little bit with this. Prohibition. What's the only thing that has to do with prohibition on there? Speakeasy. So five is speakeasies. All right, fundamentalism is talking about how we talk creationism, where we came from Adam and Eve and not evolution. So who's the guy that fought for us to keep? William Jennings Bryan. Yeah, for number six, William Jennings Bryan. And last but not least, Harlem Renaissance. Who's one of the guys we talked about that today? Langston Hughes for number seven. Yep. Okay, so again, depending on how much time we have after study guide, we'll come back and do that second part. The second part is you just have to explain what it's talking about. So for example, I'll do number one as an example, and that'll help you out. All right, so you see where number one, you should have put Marcus Garvey. It talks about Negro nationalism. What you would put in the long blank would be Black pride and unity. Just a quick explanation. So for number one, Marcus Garvey, Black pride and unity. So hopefully that kind of helps what you're supposed to do. Just short explanations. All right, flip to the back. The back of it is your content vocabulary practice, and you have two things that you have to do on this too. The first thing you got to do is you got to unscramble the word. You got to unscramble the word, and then you have to match it to its definition. Okay. I swear to you, one year, and this is not to make fun of anybody, maybe they were just tired, but they were, honest to God, they thought those words were the actual words, and they were having the hardest time trying to say, pronounce the words. And I thought, bless you. Bless your hearts. Bless your hearts. I'm gonna help you out on this one. Okay. The unscrambled word. They thought the unscrambled word was the actual word. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
terrible.
And they tried to pronounce the scrambled word thinking that was like okay, never mind. I lost you on that.
I got it.
Took you a while, right? All right, A. Any guesses on what you think A is?
It has something to do with plastic.
If you have your print off of your IDs, they're all your IDs. What do you think it is? Welfare capitalism. Yeah, so if you have your list of IDs, you can go down and figure it out pretty quickly.
Can
So-
we use these definitions as our IDs as definitions?
Yeah, absolutely. Welfare capitalism for A. B is a tough one to figure out. B is isolationism. You might not have gotten that one as easily. Not that you wouldn't have gotten it. Oh, you already done it. Never mind. Never mind. We got people in here who've already done it. B is isolationism. C is pretty easy to guess. That's supply side economics.
Pretty easy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, seeing the hyphen in the middle, you can,
Wait,
okay.
what's the
What
last
is
one?
it again? I'm sorry.
Supply side economics. The second word is economic. Supply side economics for C. All right, D. You can guess that one, right?
Nope.
No, it's not nope. Open shop. D is open shop. D is open shop. E is assembly line. What about F? Can you guess F? Mass production for F.
Good job, Gage.
Mass production for F. What about G? Creationism.
Would have never got that.
Yeah, creationism. All right. Well, there's several of these you can get by look. What about H? You can get H by looking.
All the mass something.
Media. Yeah, mass media. Mass media for H. I. This trend has come back. This fashion trend has come back. You know what I is?
Oh, it's that one word.
That one word. Yeah.
What's it? Which one's it start with?
What's the start with?
Starts with a B.
Oh, never mind.
Bohemian. 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 All right, what's J? J is speakeasy. What's
I
K?
got that one.
What's K?
Great question.
Anarchist. K is anarchist.
Okay, well,
You can get L. What's L?
What's start with?
E.
Evolution.
Evolution.
Whatever, Gage.
L is evolution, and then you can walk me through the rest of them.
Jazz.
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 Nativism.
Nativism.
Um,
Oh, come on.
All I can see is.
Can I just-
Google.
Bessie
Blues.
Smith was singing about what?
Blues.
The blues.
All I
Blues.
see was Sloop and Eagles.
Blues for O. Okay. All right. So I don't know with
Yeah, I just see the word that's like.
with the time that we've got left, I don't think I have time to give you any of the matching answers. Does anybody need any of the unscrambled words repeated?
I'm just gonna have to look at them later.
Repeat K.
K.
Yeah.
Anarchist.
Okay.
Anarchist for K. Okay. All right. That's probably all the time I'm gonna be able to have to help you out with those pages in your packet. You're gonna have to go back and finish that on your own because it is study guide time. All right, study guide. Did we start any of the imperialism and progressivism? Did we start any of that one? Okay.
No, we didn't. We didn't even get. to
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I was too upset yesterday because
We stopped. at
I didn't give you more questions.
The second number 3 is what we had. That's what we said.
What?
And immigration, remember that we stopped at the second number.
Oh, it's actually 13. It's just it's on the line, so you can't see.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Imperialism and progressivism. And we're just going to see how far we can go. Whatever we do not finish today is on you to finish. Hey, y'all tell me this. I want to make sure that you heard me loud and clear for my virtual people as well. How are you going to be graded on your study guide?
That's pretty bleak.
It is a test grade completion.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Well, your grade is based off what you
How much you finished.
do yourself. Yes, that you, yeah. Like, I'm not going back and giving you a grade for the stuff I gave you answers to, because that's like giving me my own 100. I've already passed high school. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. Your grade is based off of whatever's left and you do yourself. That's how I bite you in the rear end, because I'll have people like, look, I got it all. But where we stopped out last week, and I'm like, guess what, sunshine? Guess what? You just got a 0 because you didn't do nothing else. Okay. All right. Let's go. And I'm smiling the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway. Okay. Number 1, name 2 methods used to deny voting rights to African Americans.
It's something with literacy.
Grandfather clause, literacy test. Aiden, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to say it, but it cut out.
I'm sorry. There's actually 3. Yeah, there's actually 3 that you can put. Poll taxes, literacy test, or grandfather clause, but I only make you put 2.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Court cases and amendments. I will tell you guys, I'm going to hit you pretty hard on midterm.
Is it Plessy?
Supreme Court case that made segregation legal is Plessy versus Ferguson. Plessy versus Ferguson, 1896. You don't need to know the year. I've just thrown it out there. Plessy versus Ferguson. Number 3, name given to the laws which officially segregated society. Jim Crow laws, sometimes they just call them black codes, but yeah, Jim Crow laws are how you hear it referred to the most. Number 4, African-American leader who stresses an industrial education. He says, let's do it in phases. Let's fight for economic equality first. Who is he?
One of them's Washington. Is it him?
It is Booker T. Washington. Yeah, his picture is here at the bottom. Just FYI, that's him right down there. That's Booker T. Booker T. Washington there at the bottom. All right, Booker T. Washington. What about his fellow African-American leader in activism? Number 5, Harvard-educated African-American leader who wanted full civil rights. He said, we want it all now. And his picture is right across from him. That's him.
I don't remember his name.
What? He's
Malcolm X?
Hey, what?
Malcolm X?
No, we ain't even got that far yet. No. He's later on. I see where you're going. I like your thinking. I like to say his name. It's just fun to say. W.E.B. Du Bois. Du Bois. It is W period E period B period Du Bois.
What is the WEB?
I forget. I used to know.
Wait, what's the
I forget.
voice? Is it just
And it's D-U capital B-I-O-S. It's French. It's French. It's fun to say. It's French. Du Bois. Yes. W-E-B Du Bois. Okay. All right. Next, number 6, policy of staying out of foreign affairs. If I have not beat this word into y'all by now.
Isolationism.
Thank you. Thank you. He's on it. Isolationism. Which means that you should also know the corresponding one for number 7, policy of taking colonies.
Imperialism.
Imperialism. That is the title of the page, right? Imperialism. Fantastic. All right, good review question. I love it. Number 8, how did the U.S. acquire Alaska? Gage?
Did they buy it from Russia?
Purchase from Russia. I about said purchase Alaska. Purchase from Russia. Yes. Purchased from Russia. Fantastic. Good. Number 9, how did Hawaii become part of the U.S.? And I know it's a long explanation, but
I don't remember.
yeah, it was annexed. Yeah, that's fantastic. We're just going to put a very short, we annexed them, and that's A-N-N-E-X. We annexed them. Again, terrible story, poor Queen Hulukalani and her tribe. But yes, we did. We annexed them and then eventually made them into a territory and later a state. Where am I at? 10? I know it's blacked out, but that is supposed to be 10. Who wrote an influential report, The Influence of Sea Power Upon History? Nobody. Oh, I always think he's easy to remember because of how he spells his last name. That's really weird. Like it's Man, but he spells it M-A-H-N. His first name is Alfred. Alfred Mann, and it's Mahn. And TR is going to love him and use that as influence for him building our new Navy. 11, name the U.S. ship that sailed to Cuba to observe and then exploded. What was it?
USS Maine.
Yeah, USS Maine. USS Maine. Yeah, you're on it. You got it. I know, he's killing it. Aiden's killing it today. USS Maine explodes. And remember, because that's our battle cry, right? Remember the Maine. To hell with Spain, right? Nope, nobody?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, moving on. Number 12. What did the Teller Amendment promise? Cuba's independence. Short answer is Cuba's independence. Cuba's independence. All right, 13. Who captured the Philippines when the war began? What's his name? Philippines. No. You're talking about the Battle of San Juan Hill and TR and the Rough Riders. Wrong location. I like where your head's at, though. George Dewey. Okay, it's George Dewey, and it's Dewey. George Dewey. Okay, all right, let's try again. Oh, and Julian's already answered this one. 14, name the group led by Roosevelt in Cuba. It is the Rough Riders for number 14. 15, I think I gave this answer. Famous battle outside Santiago Bay involving Roosevelt and the Rough Riders. Yeah, San Juan. San Juan. 16, where did the U.S. want to build a canal connecting the Atlantic and Pacific? Panama. Yes, Panama. Good, Panama. 17, what is the name of the territory that the U.S. will be the only nation to intervene in Latin America? What's the territory that we get? Still have it as a territory today. What? Puerto Rico. Yeah, Puerto Rico. Y'all are making me nervous hesitating on this. Come on, y'all should know it. Do it. Puerto Rico. Ooh, good question. Man, I love it. I love it when I have all these good questions. I just want to pat myself on the back. Good job. Getting all these good questions. Okay. 18. What were the letters to world leaders about China called? What were the letters to China? All right. So John Hay goes to China. He works out a deal for us to open up the doors for trade. The son of a gun. Open door policy. Open door notes. They're called the open door notes. That was a Freudian slip. I didn't mean to give you the answer in explaining the question. Open door notes. Okay. 19, who were the progressives? And it's not wanting you to give an individual person. It just wants you to generalize it. White middle-class Americans. White middle-class Americans make up the progressives. 20, theory that you should help those less fortunate than you. What? Social gospel. The social gospel is the theory that you should help those that are less fortunate. All right, 21, name given to the journalist who exposed corruption in the nation.
This one, muckrakers.
It is, muckrakers. It is, yep. Muckrakers. And let's see if we can squeeze in at least a couple more before we stop. Oh.
Students, if you participated in Spirit Week, go to the gym. I'm sorry, if you participated in today's Spirit Week, go to the gym and get your picture done. Adriana Burns, please come to the front office.
All right, let's see if we can at least get the two muckrakers in. 22, what did Ida Tarbell write about? Standard Oil. She went after Rockefeller and his Standard Oil Company. She exposed him and all his price gouging and stuff. So Standard Oil and Rockefeller. What about 23 and Upton Sinclair? That's Jacob Reese. No. Upton Sinclair. What does he investigate and then later write a book about?
Factory.
For the jungle.
The jungle, meat packing plants, yes. Yeah, so he writes a book about meat packing plants. He writes the book, The Jungle, exposing the dirty, nasty, horribly awful, makes you want to throw up in your mouth conditions inside of meat packing plants. Okay. All right, I can't end on an odd number. We're gonna have to do 24. I can't do it. I don't know. I get weird feelings. I got an issue with odd numbers. 4 voting reforms.
That's like changes made for voting.
What?
What does it mean by voting?
Voting, changes to voting. Yes.
Secret ballot. I don't see
Yeah, you could. Those are not the big ones we talked about though. What?
Like-
Direct election.
private.
Okay, direct primaries.
So they can't watch it.
Talking about primaries. Initiative, referendum, recall, 17th Amendment, direct election of senators. Yeah.
Wait, direct primaries, initiative, recall, and what else?
Recall, initiative, referendum,
That's the one I missed.
direct primaries, 17th Amendment. We shouldn't put 17th Amendment because it's down there at the bottom of your page. So I guess you really should put direct primaries as your 4th. You got it? Recall, initiative, referendum,
Yep.
direct primaries.
That's the last one. I know that.
Kenny's one.
Sure. I thought you wanted to like spout off some more historical trivia questions.
I'll tell you what, number,
Okay, that's it. That's it. I actually did way more than what I meant to do. You are welcome. So you are finishing up the rest of the study guide on your own. No excuses because it's all recent stuff that we have done together. All right, my online people, does anybody need me before I let you go? Don't forget your 1920s skit project. Don't forget that. 1920s skit project. Don't forget. Don't forget.
what exactly do we do for that?
What is that?
Okay, I think I actually gave you till Monday. I'm pretty sure I gave you till Monday. I'll double check and make sure. All right, so you're using the website. You're picking 5 words to make a conversation using 1920 slang. And then part 2 is you got to flip it. Have that same conversation using modern day
How
slang.
long was this conversation?
Not long, as long as you use at least the minimum of the 5 words. I learned, oh God, what was it? I learned a new one yesterday. What was my new word?
You were talking about bougie the other
Oh,
day.
woke. Somebody was using the word woke. Woke yesterday. I learned a new one.
Stay woke.
Stay woke. Yes, I'm gonna use that in a sentence today.
You should.
All right, that's it. Anybody on here? We're okay? If you're okay, I'm letting you go. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Yeah, okay. I'm letting you go. Bye, guys.